Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and Happy New Year. Yes, this is my first video since I took that my long break. I took that long break last year. So today I'm just going to be explaining myself, not necessarily, don't know use the word explaining myself. Today I'm just going to be telling the story of, basically explaining her English. Today I am just going to be today I'm just going to explain, why do I keep using the word explain? Today I'm going to be telling you guys a story, but the story is going to be about myself and why I took that long break. Even before I started this video today, honestly, I was like, do I want to say this? Do I want to be this vulnerable? Honestly, I don't know. Here I am. I'm saying it. I'm just going there. So, last year I started YouTube. I was like, oh, I'm going to be really dedicated, and all those things you tell yourself to motivate yourself. I told myself that, and I was so sure that I was going to, do this and continue and be consistent. I've had other plans. So, yeah, yeah. Why I think I'm being nervous is, this is something that it takes a while before I kind of like, I'm very, now I cannot describe myself. I'm nervous because this is something that, I've been willing to talk about since, and now that I'm getting to talk about it, I don't even know if I want to talk about it. So anyway, some people are like, oh, it's not a big deal, but it was last year to this year, I be to you now, I was pregnant. So that's kind of why I had to like pause the whole thing. I think why I'm even able to talk about it now is because mentally I'm okay. Like I'm now like, okay, do you know what? Because pregnancy does take a lot, from you. So I think now I'm ready to kind of talk about it. I'm ready to just. So while I'm doing this video, you're probably going to hear a baby making noise. So just forget about it. Anyway, so last year I found out I was pregnant. Okay, wait, let me just start from the beginning. Yeah, obviously you get married and there's this expectation. Yes, I did get married, but then there's this expectation, oh, the next thing, it's baby. But for me, the story I started though, so you don't get lost. So jot things down. So yes, I got married, and prior to me even getting married, I think at the back of my mind I was like, no, I don't want to get pregnant immediately, because there was something I was working on. Do you understand? So I really wanted to. I know, not like pregnancy is a bad thing or anything, but I know that if I get pregnant, I wouldn't be able to do that. So obviously I had that understanding, and yeah, let me just even say, when I was getting married, before I got married, I had spoken to my mom. I was like, no, she was like, oh, what are your plans for the baby? I was like, no, I don't want to have a baby immediately. I want to wait at least a year. Mommy just looked at me like, she laughed because she was like, that's funny. Why would you want to do that? I said, I don't know. That's what I want. This is what I want to do within 1 year, and I want to give myself that space. So I was like, okay, oh, it's not me you should be telling that, it's the person you're getting married. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. So we were preparing for the wedding, very draining. So we got married, and we already had that understanding, but Mother Nature was already looking at me like, So after the wedding and everything, the truth is I was really stressed out. So I was like, okay, it's probably the wedding, planning and everything. So, a week after the wedding, I was tired, I couldn't eat. So barely looking at me, I'm slim. So now imagine when I'm not eating. Like if breeze blow, I go fall. So, I wasn't eating, I was sick. And in my mind, I thought it was malaria. I thought it was just stress. I was like, oh, let us go and get a test now. So I'm pretty sure, me, in my mind, I'm like, yes, it's malaria. I cannot be pregnant. Because my mom did say, oh, are you sure you're not pregnant? I was like, no. Because in my mind, in my head, in my head, I just said to myself, I'm not pregnant. So we did the test, malaria test and pregnancy test, and it showed negative. And I was like, okay, everything is fine. I'm obviously not pregnant. So I was going about my day, but sometimes I would come back and maybe I would just drop my bag and say, okay, let me just rest. And that is how I would wake up to the next morning. I was extremely tired. I wasn't eating. Like, normal smell was just irritating me, and I thought, okay, it's probably my period. In my mind, I just kept on thinking about that test result that said, oh, I wasn't pregnant. Do you understand? So that was just it. And a month went by, 2 months, 3 months. Mumumi, it still did not occur to me that I should get a pregnancy test. And I don't, now it's even making sense to me because I did not even see my period. It still did not occur to this girl to get a pregnancy test. And it was just everybody was telling me you need to get tested. I'm like, I've done tests. They said it's malaria, but you have treated malaria. The truth is, I guess everyone else like knew, and and everybody was like, you need to go and get a test done. But in my head, I think it was just that I wasn't ready to be pregnant. So I was just telling myself anything I want to hear, like, no, it's not possible, it's not possible. Until one day, I nearly fainted because I was stressing myself. Like, imagine when you're tired. When they used to say sometimes it is in the mind. Imagine when you're tired, like from here down, I'm tired. But in my mind, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I was out, I think I was in the market. I was trying to get something. And I just started feeling dizzy. Immediately, I took the cab home. That was it for me. Like, I just fell, and then I woke up. Thank God it wasn't anything serious. I think maybe I slept up, but in my mind I thought I fainted. So I woke up and immediately I was like, okay, let's go and get the test. We got the test done. Yes, I was pregnant and I was already 4 months gone. That's 18 weeks. So I was just, everybody was excited. I called my mom. She was like, hey, Okwangwagi. But, she didn't want to make it look as if she didn't want to just pressure me. She wanted me to take my time. Since I did not want to do the test, no problem. But eventually, I did the test. My love. Eventually, I did the test and, yes, I was pregnant. And I just, thinking about it now, I got the test result, and I called my mom. I called my husband, and he was excited. He was on his way to the hospital, so he was excited. He was like, hey, everybody's excited, and me, I'm just like blah. I don't know how to define blah. It's like there's no feeling. I was just in my head was just zzz, not zzz, like that was what was in my mind. I was just like and it was as if my body was just waiting for me to realize that I was pregnant. And the next day, hey, I could not explain how I was. I couldn't eat. If I eat, my body would just wait for me to finish swallowing, and the same way I ate it, that's the same way the thing would come out. If my husband would be cooking, and if I smell, sometimes he'll be cooking in the kitchen, I would have to go, sometimes I would have to go downstairs or something, because if I smell what he's cooking, that is it, I am not eating. I planned on documenting my whole pregnancy, but it wasn't it because I don't know how to explain. It was just really tiring. The first 6 months for me was just, I remember like, I was already 3-4 months gone, so I was quite slim. My tummy was quite small, do you understand? I was even worried. I was like, hope my baby is, this one I'm not eating. What is she eating? I was really, really bothered. Do you understand? But I couldn't do anything because I was tired all the time. Sometimes I would be on my bed till 4 hours because I couldn't get up. And it was really, really, really like draining for me. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like and I kept on telling myself, this is why I did not think I wanted to have a child yet. I feel like I'm not mentally ready, and now it's draining my body. I can't do what I want to do. This was going to be my plan. Thinking about it, I feel like crying because I can't believe I would say that. I could say all those things to my own child, but I wasn't saying it to her. Oh my God. The thing is, anytime I think about crying, tears would just come. If I wasn't saying it to her, I think I was just saying it to myself because I wouldn't even blame her. Those were like, I felt like my pregnancy was going to just delay me. Do you understand? Delay what I wanted to do and my plan. Yes, babe, they can hear you. Delay my plans and all that. So, I would be in bed and I would be thinking, oh, I can't get up. I'm too tired. I can't even lift myself up. I need to have my bath. Like, I need to do this, I need to do that, but I can't because I cannot get up. That was how tired I was, and that was how drained. That's what I'm telling them. So, I would say those things. I'm like, oh, this is what I want to do now. I can't do it, and this was why those were the things I was telling myself, and it was just thinking about it now. It's hurtful because it was like me saying I did not want to have her, which is far, far, far from it. So I'm just gonna continue. 4 months, going on 5 months, still the same thing. I think it was when, sorry, yeah, she just wants you to know that she's here. Oh, she's here. So going on 6 months, I was really, really tired, and I don't want to, I'm kind of getting emotional because I'm just 6 months going on 7 months. I started getting myself little by little, but I still had to rest a lot, try not to overstress myself. Sorry, you will be hearing that noise because obviously. So yeah, I was getting myself by 7 months. So I remember one of the craziest things I did then was, there was one day I woke up and I was craving shawarma, like really, really bad. There are a lot of people that sell shawarma here, but my friend had told me about like the best shawarma. That's the name of the place, the best. So after antenatal that day, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I called a cab and I was like, oh, take me here. We drove all the way to that place to get shawarma. He was like, oh, is this shawarma you left the hospital? So I was like, yeah. And I said, oh, he knows a place around our side that's sweeter. But I was like, this is this one I want. I was like, okay, will you buy the shawarma? I said, no, I do not. Like, I cannot wait. I have to eat that shawarma. So almost like 4 times from my house to Surulere just to eat shawarma. Another thing I craved very well was pap. Pap shawarma, pap shawarma. Apart from that, I think every other food I would eat it, sha. And then okay, another thing, chicken. But now I enjoy chicken, but then it was a no for me. So let me continue the story. So 6 months going on 7 months, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting better. Oh, in my mind I can conquer the world. So I was like, okay, let me go and start getting some things for the baby and all that. So like going on 8 months, and a friend went to the market, and my friend was even pitying me. She was like, oh, let's calm down, let's take like one store at a time. I said, no, let's go. We have entered, we need to explore, you understand? Enter here, enter here, enter here. She was like, see your tummy. That's the thing. In my head I was Superman, but down here so we're buying. So, and in my mind I'm like, Hokozuna. Shebi, Hokozuna, the wrestler, he's quite big. Yeah. And I got home and my body show. It showed for my body because immediately I got home, with everything I was wearing, I slept from 6 that evening till the next morning, 10 a.m. I will never forget that day. 10 a.m. I remember how many times my mama would come and he would be like, are you okay? I did not even answer, nothing. He just left me till the next morning. So 7 months going on 8 months. Still the same thing. Then I think it was my 8 months going on 9 months, I started getting myself, because at some point, I remember I said my tummy was quite small, so I wanted to make sure my baby was okay. They would tell me, okay, it's because you're slim. They told me you have flat stomach, blah blah blah, it's normal. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. I was very happy. I did not have stretch mark. when I was 6 months. I remember when I was 6 months, when my mom was on video call, she was like, you don't have stretch mark. That's nice. So if you don't have stretch mark now, you will not have stretch mark again. I was so happy. I was like, And then one day, that day that I woke up by 10 a.m., that I went to market. After having my bath, I like to look at myself. So while I was looking at myself, I just stunned. I saw one small stretch mark. Hey, hey. I know, like, someone was probably like, what is stretch mark? But because my mom had told me that I would not get stretch mark, I believe my mommy. Let me know. I believe my mom so much. One, because she told me, since you're 6 months, 7 months, you don't have stretch mark. You will not have stretch mark again on your stomach. And I was like, my mommy has said it, so shall it be. Because my mom is God. So, I woke up that day and I was looking at my tummy and then I saw stretch mark. I was like, I called mom immediately. I said, no, mommy, I thought you said I will not have stretch mark. This is that. She was like, what happened? Now, and I showed her, look. She said, is that why your body is? I said, mommy, you told me that I wouldn't have stretch mark and I believed you did. She started laughing at me like, so that is your own problem. At that point in time, yes, that was my problem. At that point in time, because I believe everything my mom said to me. So, and she told me that I was not going to have stretch mark, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to have. But then, nature took its course, because even that day, I noticed it was like my tummy was small on this one. All of a sudden, boom! It was just big, like as if it grew overnight. My baby grew overnight. So, with the added stomach came that stretch mark, and I was just after normal. My mom just like facing me that it's normal now, like it happens like that. No, that after we talked, I was calm, but it was just, I think I was just worried because I would say worried. I was just this mess me because my mom had told me that. So that day I woke up, I saw the stretch mark. I went to show my husband. I was like, see you. I was like everybody was like, like it's normal. But to me, my mother had told me that I would not have stretch marks since at 7 months I did not have, that it will not show. So I believe that. But anyway, so 8 months, thank God I'm getting myself, I'm able to stand up, I'm able to move around and all that. I even shot a few YouTube videos, previous videos while I was pregnant. So yeah, and 9 months it was okay. So at 9 months everything was going well and all that. I was entering 40 weeks because apparently the doctor had told us that because it is my first time I would have to go longer, 40 weeks, 41 weeks, because my body doesn't know what it's like to be pregnant yet. So it might not necessarily, my water might not even break, nothing. So I went to the hospital normal to do my normal antenatal checkup. Do you understand? And I remember my friend Casey even calling me that day, and she was like, how far, where are you? I was like, I'm in the hospital. She was like, is it time? I was like, no, I just want to see the doctor and come back home. So now the doctor was not like, they have to do, I forgot, I'm trying to remember what he called it. Well, not to start looking for words, just normal routine. That there's a stage you would reach once is your due date and all that, or you won't pass. They would kind of like have some tests to know. I would look for the name of that and I'll probably put it like here. I'll put it somewhere. So they would do that to check your baby's heartbeat to know how everything is doing. It's compulsory once you get to a certain stage. So they checked previously. So then they had to check again. And he was just really, he was like, it's my husband around. I was like, yeah, he had just drove in and I was like, he should come in. I started panicking because I was like, hope everything is okay. He was like, sure, no problem. That's what they all say. So yeah, and my husband came in, he was like, we would have to, your wife would have to give birth to CS. I was like, why? And he explained, my baby is quite big and she had already crushed my placenta, and if I push, I'm likely not to push out I can't even push out the placenta because it's already crushed. That she's too big, and she was quite big, and she had crushed my placenta because she's trying to find space. My tummy was already big and she's still looking for space. So And I don't know what was funny. I just started crying immediately because in my head, as much as maybe this might be it might not be a big deal to some people, but it is to me because in my head I already picture myself giving birth naturally. And coming from where I come from, no one has ever spoken to me about, nobody has told me anything about CS or discussed that, oh, it's a normal thing, it's not a big deal. Do you understand? So the doctor was like, why am I crying? That the main thing is for me and my baby to be fine and all that. But it was just my orientation. My grandma, if she's telling us about how she gave birth here, you enjoy the story because she just like she didn't even have any like contraction. Boom. So sometimes she'll be cooking, she just saw the head of. Do you understand? And then my mom too. Mom was like, she did tell us about, some difficulties she had and all that, but never about CS. So I did not have nobody to actually tell me that. So like even though I've had a friend, I've had few friends, give birth through CS, but no one really told me. Gave me gang orientation about it. So it was like I was crying. I was like, oh, because in my head I thought maybe something was wrong with my baby. The doctor explained everything. I was like, oh, okay. But then I came out, I was still crying because it wasn't even about the CS. It was not me knowing that, oh, operation. I've always been, even I watch TV, I see all this botched and everything. I'm always afraid anything operation. Even normal appendix I've never done. So, and in my mind I'm like, they will sedate me, I'll be sleeping, looking at the baby, I won't be sleep. Like, I still started panicking over nothing. Do you understand? I know if I know what I know now, then obviously I'll be like, oh, okay, no problem. So my husband was just like, what is that? I'm like, oh no, actually, my people have done operation before. I'm like, no. So me, I'm going to do. I was just being. So I was crying and then I started telling myself operation. So after that, the first person I called was my mom, and immediately my mom heard her. She was like, hey, operation. That alone, bam, you're giving me headache. Ask Natalie, mommy, stop, don't do that. It's just CS. But in my mind I was panicking. I'm not even going to lie. She was like, okay, no problem. I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. The doctors have really explained everything to us. She was like, is the baby okay? I was like, yes. So I was still panicking, I will not lie, because in my mind I was like, the way I was saying this, so because I'm like, anything operation I don't want, let me not lie. So we went home. I was still very down. I had to pack because I was going to have my baby like in 2 days. So I packed and I was still down, and the husband was like, oh, let's go out so that just ease off your mind. I was like, oh, okay. We went there. Coincidentally, we now went to see a movie. The movie that they went out to, the lady in the movie, it was an action film, but then I said something about pregnancy, and I started crying again. But it wasn't like, I was sobbing, but I just felt really emotional because I knew that I was going to have my baby in 2 days, and so yeah, I don't want to get emotional, sir. But the next day I was just calming myself down. I had to be in the hospital Sunday because I had my baby on a Monday. I was calming myself down. My husband just kept on laughing. I was like, why are you laughing? He was like, because he believes that I will go and I'll come out and I'm probably going to laugh about this. That why am I being? I was like, I don't know. I just hope my baby is safe. Because first of all, we did not even know what we're having. Do you understand? I'm able to say she now because I already know. But we didn't want to know what we're having. So it was like, I just hope, whether it's a boy or girl we're having, that that she's safe or he's safe. Do you understand? So the day came, the night before I had to come to the hospital. So the night before I had my baby, it was just, I don't know, I was just feeling down. My husband had prayed and we're waiting for the next day, but I was just not myself because again I just had that black feeling, like I was just blank, no feelings, nothing. So yeah, And I've said yeah like 100 times. Babe, stop that. Thank you. What am I doing? This one does not hear me. She doesn't listen. Anyway, I was really blah. Like there was nothing there. I was just like, oh my god, this is going to be my first ever operation. I've never entered a theater room before. All I do is go to the hospital, get treated, and come out. I just kept, and you know what's funny? I didn't have the urge to pray. Let me not lie. My husband was the one doing the praying. I was just like, I was like, you know what? CS it is nothing. I'll go in and I'll come out. That's just it. I didn't do too much this thing. Even I remember when my husband started praying, I was even crying. I was like, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. I said, okay. So so guys, that's all I have for you guys today for my I don't say 2-part series, but it's not a 2-part series. It's my part 1 and 2 story. That's all I have for you guys today for part 1. Don't forget to turn on your post notification. Don't forget to turn on your post notification. I mean, more than now. Don't forget to turn on your post notification button to know, when I drop to, 1 or 2 videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. Don't worry, in part 2 you get to meet Alexis Chizara Mbano. Bye.